I'd like to call the meeting to order at 2:31. Renee, would you read the Metro statement?
Yes, good afternoon. This meeting of the Sacramento Metro Cable Television Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, and the Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and the AT&T U-verse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and is webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv and will replay on Saturday, June 8th at noon and Sunday, June 9th at 4 p.m. on Metro Cable 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the back podium and hand it to the clerk.
Thank you. Would you take the roll call?
Yes. Good afternoon. Members Bryant, Detrick,
Here.
Hedges,
Here.
Polo,
Here.
Riley, Reed, Natoli,
Here.
Schmidt,
Here.
Nava,
Here.
Middleton, Gatewood.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Excellent. I'd like to invite Commissioner Gatewood to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Commissioner Gatewood formerly served as the ex officio from Rancho Cordova and now serves as a board member for the cities of Rancho, Galt, and Folsom. Congratulations.
A lot of responsibility to shoulder, Mr. Gatewood.
I was also going to introduce.
I have big shoulders, so I'm ready for this.
I was also going to introduce our new board member, Portia Middleton, but she's from Citrus Heights. But it doesn't look like she's here, but we'll hopefully catch her at the next meeting. Next item, please.
Your next item is your conference with legal counsel.
Okay, we'll adjourn and report out if there's anything to report out after. Okay, we'll reconvene from closed session, and we do not have anything to report. I do want to mention that Commissioner Portia Middleton showed up, and welcome. This is your first meeting, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Your next item is your fiscal year 2019-20 general fund and PEG fund fee fund proposed budgets.
Good afternoon. I'm Bob Davison, the Executive Director, and I do have a PowerPoint presentation. So this item is to present the proposed budgets for 1920 for our two budgets, the general fund, which is also called 94A, and the PEG fee fund. PEG, just to throw the acronym out, is Public Education Government, and we use PEG throughout this presentation, and that fund is 94B. So for the general fund, this exhibit basically shows like a piece of pie, what the overall budget and what the components are made up of. So basically the entire budget is $12.8 million, and it includes salary and benefits, services and supplies, funding to the channel licensees who operate our PEG channels. And the largest amount of the pie is the revenue distribution for the member agencies, which we're showing at $9 million, and I'll have more details on that later on. And then a small amount for, $150,000 in reserves, as well as just other miscellaneous items. So the first component that I'm going to talk about today is administration and regulation. Administration, Karen Liu is the ASO that runs the administration section of the Cable Commission. And it's the administration and enforcement arm of the commission. It includes administering the state-issued cable franchises and the issues that come from the current operators in our territory of these state franchises. Her office spends a lot of time assisting, and I know your board members often contact Karen and her staff with issues that come up, but in resolving cable complaints, and we have a great process for resolving cable complaints. Provides funding support that I just mentioned for the operators of the 6 PEG channels, and of course operating Metro Cable 14, which is the PEG channel that's operated by the Commission, and also collects and distributes the franchisees to the member agencies. Administration staff includes myself, part-time executive director, Karen, the ASO 3. We have ASO 1 that's vacant that we're hoping to fill very soon. And we have a senior office assistant, that's Marianne Coletto. And I just pronounced her name wrong, so I apologize for that, Mary. We actually have another senior office assistant that's vacant as well that we plan to fill very soon. And I just want to point out that there's a 2.4% COLA being recommended for these positions, and that's based on the tie that we have with the county. And most county positions received a 2.4% COLA, and the positions that were certainly these positions that have been tied to the Cable Commission positions received that COLA. Just to point out a few of the highlights, I'm not going to go through every number in excruciating detail. We've been providing money into the CalPERS reserve related to our other than retirement post-employment benefits. We, based upon the fact that there could potentially be a sunset of the commission in 2024, rather than having the actuary look at a longer horizon, we did ask the actuary to look at a shorter horizon based on the 2024. So we're recommending an amount that's higher than the usual amount that we put in this reserve. And I think in past budgets, it's been in about the range of $85,000. So we stepped that number up a bit. And if you recall from our last Cable Commission meeting, the board approved a policy that we should start paying down our pension liability. So this budget has a $500,000 payment for pension liability to CalPERS. We have an amount for closed captioning, $100,000, which I'll be talking about closed captioning later because we have a new closed caption provider that we'll be recommending. Legal counsel, other professional services, County Department of Technology. A lot of what we do, we have to work hand in hand with the Department of Technology. All of our equipment is interrelated to the county, and with that comes certain charges from the Department of Technology. And then we're recommending $150,000 to be put into the reserves. I just mentioned closed captioning. As many of you know, it was implemented first in 2006. In this last calendar year, we closed captioned 285 meetings for about 612 hours, and that's with our current provider, Caption Colorado. At this board's recommendation, and from last year, we did put out a RFP for closed captioning services. We received proposals from 4 vendors, and staff reviewed the proposals and made a selection, and we're recommending that we're changing our provider to a new vendor called Aberdeen. And just a couple of points, we are saving some money because I believe the hourly rate is going down from around 120 to closer to 90, so that's a significant reduction. And I want to remind you, I think I talked about this at a previous meeting, but one of the issues that we've had is with the quality of the captioning, and we wanted to see an improvement. We made up a test that included, and I got to probably kudos to Metro Cable staff, because they're the ones that made all this happen. They put together a half-hour segment of different meetings, and they asked each of the providers, they set it up like it was happening in real time, and they asked each of the providers to caption that half-hour meeting, and I think they had an hour to send it back to us. And with that, we were able to measure their accuracy. And one of the firms, and happens to be the firm that we're selecting, is not only a good money savings, but also did better than the rest of the providers, a significant improvement. So we will monitor that over time, but we expect to see significant improvement in the captioning from here on. The third component is Metro Cable. As you know, Metro Cable provides gavel-to-gavel coverage of meetings held by the commission, its 7 member agencies, and 14 other agencies. I mentioned the captioning hours. Most of our meetings and hours are captioned. There's a few that are not for technical reasons, but Metro Cable cablecast 328 meetings for 686 hours in 2018. In addition, there were 11 election forums that actually occurred in 3 locations, County Board Chambers, Citrus Heights, and Elk Grove, I believe, on 3 different days. Most of the forums were in the board chambers, and then the Elk Grove and Citrus Heights were mostly related to Elk Grove and Citrus Heights. So we did those as well. And Metro Cable staff also provides assistance to the member agencies with the assessment of the PEG equipment and facility needs that you'll see in the PEG portion of this budget item. So Metro Cable staff includes 4 authorized full-time positions: a production director, programming coordinator, a technical coordinator, and a technical assistant. And then we also have several part-time production assistants that record many of the meetings and do the work in the control room at the various locations during the meetings. And these positions, it's also recommending that they're a 2.4% COLA for the same tie to the county COLA. So the next component is community programming. The general funding is provided. We have the operations base that has been provided to the channel licensees, Access Sacramento, KVIE, and SCCC, the Sacramento Education Cable Consortium. Also Capital Public Radio. Per commission policy, we provide a higher COLA on the base funding that goes to the channel licensees, and this is basically based upon a recent policy that was approved by the board, which provides the 2.4% COLA, which is the same COLA that staff gets, plus an additional, and we calculated it at 1.05% this year, that has to do with a minimum wage adjustment and a payroll cost associated with the general COLA and the minimum wage increase. And that's modeled on Access Sacramento's operation. And the policy was that for whatever COLA that's calculated to that Access Sacramento would get, the other channel licensees would get as well. So we're not calculating different cost of living adjustments for the different providers. So with that, I'm not going to read off all these amounts, but basically we're recommending an increase in the operations base to $1.34 million. And I do want to point out that I did receive an additional request from the Sacramento Education Cable Consortium for an additional position, and they reported that the cost to them for that position would be $70,000. It's not recommended in this budget, but I wanted to make sure that your board was aware that that request is there. Typically, when we get requests in the general fund that are beyond the base, we recommend the base and the COLA, but in the past, we've received requests from other channel licensees, and your board has considered them, and in several cases have approved, modified, or have approved them, and so I just wanted to point out to your board that that request was there as well. If your board wanted to fund that, we can make an adjustment, a $70,000 adjustment to the member agency distribution, which would be a relatively small adjustment. Speaking of revenue distribution, once we take in the franchise fees and we've funded everything that I've just talked about till this point, the rest of the money that comes into the Cable Commission gets distributed to the member agencies as a revenue distribution, and it's distributed based on population as reported by the Department of Finance. And for the fiscal year 1920, it's a proposed distribution of $9.06 million. And it's a bit down from $10.28 million that was budgeted in fiscal year 1819, and I have some slides later that I'm going to talk about that. This just shows what each entity would get, and so most of, actually, I do want to point out there's 2 things here. First of all, for the 2018-19 distribution, the budgeted distribution was $10.03 million. And if you recall, between proposed budget and final budget last year, we made a significant reduction in the amount of franchise fees that we were estimating, and that was based upon startling information that we received on, at that point, AT&T franchise fees had been going down, but Comcast and Consolidated had been going up. But on the eve of the budget meeting last year, and what we reviewed between proposed and final budget was that there was also a significant reduction in franchise fees that we were receiving from Comcast. We have asked, and we've talked to our auditors about that, and we were told that maybe it's based upon some accounting adjustments as opposed to reduction in customers for Comcast. But we're not actually sure, and the data that we're seeing this year shows that that continues to go down, and I have a slide later that will show that. But anyway, so last year, the final budget, we made the reduced budget, we reduced the budget for the revenue distribution to about $10.03 million. Now, we came in just above that amount by like about $20,000 or $30,000. And in the meantime, we also had an AT&T audit where AT&T wrote us a check for their audit findings. And so there's a little bit extra that's being distributed to the member agencies in the 2018 to 19 revenue distribution, which will be a check that will be written to the member agencies later this month. Now, on top of that, so with that, there's an appropriations adjustment to allocate that small additional amount to the member agencies beyond what was in the proposed budget. Now, beyond that, we have the fiscal year 1920 proposed revenue distribution, and that is shown to be reduced from what was actual revenue of just north of 10 million last year. We are recommending a revenue distribution of 9 million this year. And the two significant reasons for that reduction are expected reductions in franchise fees, and of course the increased amounts that were the 500,000 that is included for the paying the pension liability, as well as the increase into the other than post-employment benefit reserve as well. So I think those are the most significant factors that are affecting that reduction. And I promised I would have a chart, and here it is. So this is what we track every year, and as you can see, when in fiscal year 15-16 was the first year that we were at the peak then, and then during 16-17 is when we started to see the reduction, and that was mainly due to AT&T. AT&T's franchise fees were going down significantly based upon their abandoning their UVerse platform in favor of a DirecTV over-the-top platform that does not pay franchise fees. And so with that, since that time, we've seen reductions in AT&T franchise fees every year. And now, and that's over the first 2 years of where you start seeing the reductions in that chart. And then we have a slide starting last fiscal year and projected into this fiscal year based upon reductions from all three cable companies that I cannot tell you what it is attributed to, but it could be reductions in revenues as well as some accounting changes. I'd be happy to communicate with the cable companies in more detail to see if we can get an answer for why we're seeing more reductions, now, but I don't have that information at this time. The last number on there, the 12.2 million, is the projected revenue that we would receive in this fiscal year, that we're the 1920 fiscal year, and we're basing the 12.2 million expected franchise fees revenues based upon the continuing trend of the reduced franchise fees. And it's more conservative to budget that way. So if, for example, it's accounting changes and then it starts to flatten out, that would be great. And then we would certainly come in, just like we're doing with a small amount of extra revenue this year, the distributions would be enhanced next year if we actually get more revenue. So this slide basically just it shows the data that's included in the information from the previous page. So that's the general fund budget, and now I'll turn us to 94B, which is the PEG fund budget. That budget is the budget is $4.75 million. But the new money is in the range of $2.5 million or so. I don't have the exact number, but it's in our budget report. And the reason why it shows it to be higher is that there are certain PEG projects by the member agencies that haven't been finished, and so those amounts are rolling over. And also the amount that was allocated to BestNet that last year the board reallocated to Sacramento Education Cable Consortium's request for E-rate funding, that still hasn't all been spent, and so that rolled over into this year's budget as well. So with that, we have a total of $4.7 million for the budget. It includes the member agency's previous year projects, member agency projects for fiscal year 1920, the continued rollover of the BestNet amount, channel licensees one-time equipment requests, and the channel licensees facilities and equipment base, because there's a small amount of base funding that's in the PEG fund that certain of the channel licensees have asked for that base funding to be actually put into the PEG fund as opposed to being in the general fund. And then there's a request for Metro Cable as well, and then just a very small amount for the reserve and contingency. And that's a small amount because this year we got a lot of requests. I do appreciate Access Sacramento, SCCC, and KVIE, because I did ask them to reduce their requests so that we can bring the budget in based upon the revenue that we had, and all of them were very gracious to comply with that. And so today's budget includes those adjustments. The PEG revenue really mirrors franchise fee revenue, so there's no sense to really go into this in detail again, but it would be basically the same looking chart as you just saw for the general fund. So, so Exhibit 3, it's in the staff report, but it outlines the PEG requests for the different entities. Let's see. So I won't go through them in detail, but I just want to point out that we have Exhibit 3 there, and it shows significant requests from the member agencies and the channel licensees. But with that, member agencies are requesting $1.5 million. It's mostly for equipment, control room upgrades, chambers upgrades, AgendaNet systems that are integrated into the chambers and integrated into the channels. And then channel licensees request for $911,000, and then Metro cable request for $98,000. So if you want more details, the detail is there in the report. And like I mentioned before, the carryover of the $985,000 for the E-rate, that was once the BestNet money, is included in the budget. So that finalizes my presentation for the general fund and the PEG fund budget. We recommend that the board approves the fiscal year 1920 general fund and PEG fund budgets for 94A and 94B, and adopts resolutions numbers 2019-2 through 2019-6. And this includes all attachments, exhibits, agreements that are included in the budget staff report. And with that, I certainly can answer any questions that you might have.
Any of the board members have questions about? Okay. So we'll open public comment, and we only have one speaker signed up, Liz Rhodes.
Good afternoon. I'm Liz Rhodes, Executive Director of the Sacramento Educational Cable Consortium. First and foremost, thank you for all of the support that you've always given us. I did want to speak just briefly to that additional request that we put in. But first, I brought the entire SCCC staff because we also want to express our appreciation. So our entire staff, oops, excuse me. As I hit, excuse me, let me introduce Trevor Mention. He was going to be here. Hopefully we'll get to the grantee reports before he has to leave. He's graduating today, so he's got to make it over to the auditorium. but he is one of our SEVA award winners and one of our SEVA hosts. He's done a lot of work with us. So we'll bring you up at the next item, okay? Thank you. But at least you got to meet him, just in case he has to leave. Anyway, Doug Niva, he is doing most of our production work. Nick is a full-time employee also in production. Jessica does production, does website, does administrative work. And Abby, she's only a half a person. She's half-time. So this is, and myself, this is our entire staff. With your help and your support, we have been tremendously successful. And success breeds extra work. So one of the things that we can't do is, bring on, it's very difficult to bring on additional staff. That's the purpose of our request, is that all of the expansion that we've done kind of is your fault because you've supported us, and we've just been successful with it. But I want to point out that we have heard you in terms of you coming and telling us that it's up to us to get out there and get additional support. So I would tell you that in terms of putting our budget together, Bob was a little off, is that our new staff position that we're looking at, we figure is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000. Our board unanimously approved a 20% increase in membership dues to bring in the extra funding that we felt was necessary. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that all of our schools, straight across the board, including Sac City, which to me is phenomenal, agrees that the work that we're doing is significant and it is important, and they want to have some skin in the game on that. And they are contributing. So I think that makes a little bit of a difference. So I wanted to explain that to you, and just again to thank you for all of the work that you have done on our behalf. The funding is very important. But I think most important to us is the support that you give us in terms of the channel access, in terms of providing opportunities for our students, and always being there for them. So thank you, and thank you for your consideration. And thank you to Bob and to Karen. Karen calls me the problem child. I am. I always seem to get that budget mixed up, and they're wonderful to work with, and we really appreciate that opportunity that we have to pull this together with them. So thank you.
Is the difference between the 100,000 and 70,000, that delta, is that what your increase in revenue is?
Right. Well, we're asking, we're kind of trying to do a match to the best of our ability, so we were looking at like what would be a 20% increase. So it's a 20% increase that our board, our member districts are paying, so that's the 30,000. And in very rough figures, the amount that we ask you is slightly less than that 20% increase. But that would be, the total 100,000 would be 70,000 from you and the 30,000 from our members.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we don't have anyone else signed up to speak, so we'll close public comment and go to board deliberation. Mr. Natoli.
So let me understand, the only outstanding request, there may have been others, but the one that's still before us is the one that Ms. Rhodes just spoke to. So you said staff's not recommending it because it's outside the policy we've adopted, Bob?
Correct. Correct.
Just a little bit of background on the policy. There's a COLA policy we have entertained from time to time, special requests. Is it concern here is that we'd be base funding for a position that would be ongoing?
So I think based on policy, the current policy is written to where I bring the base funding budget back to the board with the base funding from last year with the COLA policy, the new COLA applied to that. We have in the past received additional requests, and in some cases I think your board has granted those requests. In other cases I think they modified and granted those requests. And so I feel it's under my jurisdiction to bring back the budget with the COLA applied to it for the base funding that goes to the channel licensees. And we are certainly letting your board know that there's other requests as well. And in this case, we have one such request, and it's for SECC for the $70,000.
Okay, I guess just from a kind of a historical perspective, without going too far back in time, but so we have adjusted the base funding for different PEG-funded organizations over time, and obviously we've tried to true up, make sure that we got some consideration for costs that are borne both in the public and private sector relative to COLAs or inflation. When was could you just refresh memory here? When was one of the last requests. I don't need to know the specifics as much as, do we have a request last year where we amended anybody's base budget? Has it been several years?
Yeah, without stretching the memory banks, there was certainly a request from Access Sacramento a few years ago that included insurance and brought up the whole issue of the minimum wage and the payroll cost, and that was not originally recommended, and we had just recommended the COLA that was tied to the county, and then that's where the whole COLA policy came about, and we came back with that policy. I think there's, in previous cases, I believe when Access Sacramento came in with a request for their over-the-air radio, that was a request that came in the general fund, was not recommended by staff, but ultimately the board funded that. And going way back, there was a time where certain BestNet, BestNet came out separately, so that didn't evolve the way the base funding for the other items that are in the base. But I know that we do Game of the Weeks for Access Sacramento. We track it separately as part of the base funding. Hometown TV, those. And it's going way back, and in some cases, it's times before I was executive director, but those were also items that came as requests from channel licensees that were approved by the board and then ultimately end up in the base funding that it gets adjusted every year.
Okay, so just that's important background. So I guess would kind of pose the question then, if there's going to be consideration for adjustment to base because of growth, of new task, of different things that seem to make sense with the mission of the particular organization for them to pursue that can't be covered either through other sources of funding. It is appropriate for them to, at budget time, to ask for those things. Obviously, you're looking at a holding budget line, so you're not providing any evaluation around the necessity of this position or not. It's just that the base is the base. But if we don't ever have that conversation, then those base remain that for forever, I guess, until
Correct.
we make some adjustments. So again, we've had this before. So with that being said, let me just ask, so have you done any evaluation? I mean, obviously, I certainly trust, Liz's judgment and the program, obviously, working on, but they're asking for a full-time. Do you provide any evaluation around that? Did you ask for any additional justification? She's talked about it here in her comments, and you mentioned in your staff report very briefly. I guess, how does this board kind of have some analysis, recognizing that other organizations may have requests, and we can either grant them or not, or we can defer them for another year, or just say we don't be back with that request. But organizations evolve, grow, and so forth. I'm just trying to get some sense about that. How do we do some kind of a evaluation and not put any particular organization at a disadvantage in our consideration?
So it hasn't been the practice to do that kind of evaluation on the request, and I certainly talked to Liz Rhodes about it, and I did tell her that she ran it by me, and I said, well, if you want that, you certainly need to submit it with the budget, but it's really a position, and I think the dynamics are, I did not do a personal evaluation of whether it was a justifiable position. Right. I don't disagree, that it's not a good idea, or it's not a position that she shouldn't be asking for, or anything like that. And certainly, their staff is here, like the Cable Commission. They have a very small staff, so it's not, it's not like the SCCC is overstaffed by any means.
I know. I'm just trying to get some touchstone, because again, for us to evaluate, again, it sounds like a good thing. We know it's an ongoing commitment. It would be part of their base, and we've had, as you accurately described, other requests for programming or for staff support or equipment support, and the capital. We've gone through a couple different iterations, and that doesn't have that ongoing cost. It may come up for replacement if it hangs around long enough. But so I'm just trying to get some sense about that, if we're going to evaluate the request as properly before us. And outside of what you just said, there's not a whole lot to go on, except it sounds like there's a workload, and they're doing good work. Obviously, we know that, as all of our grantees are. I don't know whether it would be, Mr. Chair, let me just take it back through the chair here, that again, we have seen some diminishment in the overall revenue, and obviously recognize that whatever goes to the grantees is not available for distribution to the member entities. I would just note that, obviously the mission of this commission is to, oversee the, administration of the, the cable franchise, and that part of that is the public programming. So I don't know, Steve, if it would be appropriate to, if there wasn't comfort level today, that, and not to try to open up the shoot here for a lot of requests, but that, to have some further evaluation around this. And, it does have some ongoing costs, but if you're growing a program and they're in 50 schools and, you've taken on those duties, and I think the one thing that's a little bit intriguing here is that they've, gone to their board and stepped up with a match of about a third of the ongoing costs. That's a pretty important pledge, and I think other organizations have done that over time too. Have stood before and said we can raise this amount of money, or we've got a commitment from a benefactor of sorts. And so, but we really don't have anything tangible to evaluate. And obviously, as commissioners, we're trying to look out for the bottom line here, but also be supportive of good programming in our community. So, I don't, Mr. Detrick, I would kind of defer to you if you think that, I'm willing to entertain this. It doesn't seem like unreasonable, but I don't want to take it out of context. It is in the budget context, and that's appropriate. But I guess, anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Steve. Any thoughts you have?
Well, we have Commissioner Gatewood.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for putting the budget together. I fully will support them getting the money because I know what great work they're doing in my city. I mean, above and beyond, some of my actual citizens are actually here supporting it because it's just an amazing program. And so I'd like to see this go forward. I didn't get quite what you were saying. So you're saying that you are bringing the 70,000, you want them to get it, or you're saying there's not enough right now in the budget to be able to get the 70,000? Do we have to cut something?
I'm saying it's
our
not
decision.
part of the current budget recommendation. So if the board chooses to fund that $70,000, that the board could do that in its motion and direct that the revenue distribution to the member agencies be reduced by that $70,000, and that's how it could be funded.
Okay.
Liz, could you come back up here for a second? So one, you've heard from at least a couple of the commissioners, and myself, that huge supporter of what you do, as well as the other folks that are here. This $70,000 ask, is it just for this year, or is this an ongoing raise that you're looking for from the
Base.
It's ongoing because it's staff related, and we never fund staff positions on one-time money. Doesn't seem like a good idea.
Okay. That's important for me to know as well, so I appreciate you coming out and clarifying that.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Thank you. And as I said, problem child. Karen nailed it. So, and again, we do appreciate all you've done. I'm feeling a little like that problem child. But at the same time, I got to tell you, when I look at what those students accomplish, and the fact that we're overseeing 50 of those sites, it's just getting to be too much. And I'll do anything to make sure that we continue on with those. It's important.
No, what you do is awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Chair, Liz, before you go back, if I could just ask, because you introduced your crew here and you pointed out that one of your was 8/10 of a position, so I think you introduced it correctly. Did you say?
Abby's half a person.
Okay, so half. So again, perhaps, again, you know what your needs are, but that if we were to fund, again, you have a pledge, but, and whether it was her position or another position, whatever, that's up to you. But I assume any additional base support would be important to what you do. And I don't know, again, I'm sure you have enough work to fill a full time, but I'm going to ask you just outright, is if we funded a half-time in your base, is that something that's doable? Can you find people to serve in that capacity, to do what you need to do?
We're going to make it happen. So, I figure we asked you, the worst you can say is no. So it's worth the ask. So anything that you can do to help us out, greatly, greatly appreciated, but we understand your situation.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I personally, I support the 70,000 ask. I mean, I know I go to some of the events that Liz does, and as we've seen it grown over the last decade exponentially, I personally support it. I know I'd be willing to make the motion to approve the fiscal year 2019-20 general fund 094A and the PEG fees 094B proposed budgets to include the following resolutions, as well as the attachments, exhibits, and agreements included in the budget staff report, plus the $70,000 asked for SECC.
So you have to modify the exhibit, so, because you didn't adjust the amounts.
And just to clarify that, so that adjustment would be an additional $70,000 in base for SECC with a reduction of $70,000 from the member agency distribution that would be distributed based on the population, and we would calculate that.
Yes.
I'm not saying that.
So we have a motion and a second. Please vote on screen.
Can I get one of these for Rancho? The voting screens.
You want to say yes all the time, or
It
what?
might be in the PEG request.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Perfect. All right, that passes, and we'll go next item. Congratulations, Liz.
Your next item is a resolution number 2019-007, approving the Ninth Amendment to the license and operations agreements pertaining to the use of community programming channels.
Good afternoon again. With the budget that the board just approved, it's necessary to amend the use and the agreements pertaining to the use of the community programming channels with the channel licensees that operate our PEG channels. So it's recommended the board adopts resolution 2019-7 approving the Ninth Amendment to the license and operation agreements with the channel licensees.
So moved.
Okay, do we want to open public comment? There's nobody signed up to speak. We'll close public comment, and if there's no deliberation, we'll go. We have a motion from Mr. Natoli. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Gatewood. All those in, we'll wait for him to get down here so we can vote. Please vote on your screen.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Gatewood, did you vote?
I did.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, motion passes. Next item, please.
Your next item is resolution number 2019-008, approving the closed captioning services agreement with Aberdeen Captioning, Inc.
Good afternoon again. And I think I effectively discussed this during the budget, so I'm just going to move to recommending that the board adopt resolution number 2019-8 approving the closed captioning services agreement with Aberdeen Captioning Incorporated.
So open and close public comment since we have no one signed up to speak. A deliberation or a motion?
I'll move. Closed captioning services with Aberdeen.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please vote on screen.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, passes unanimously. Next item, please, Renee.
Your next item is resolution number 2019-009, fixing the employer contribution at an equal amount for employees and annuitants under the PMHCA.
Good afternoon again. Because the commission participates in CalPERS retirement and CalPERS health benefits, in 1983, the board adopted a resolution electing to be subject to the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, which we call PEMCA. In June 2008, the board adopted a policy that the medical benefits for Cable Commission employees would be tied to 80% of the Kaiser cost for the family, and with that, they adopted a resolution that approved the resolution with the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, including the language that the benefit was tied to 80% of the Kaiser family plan premium rate. Since that time, on a yearly basis, the commission would adopt annual resolutions. In 2013, I think CalPERS informed the commission that because of the tie, that it wasn't necessary to adopt that resolution every year. So you haven't seen this resolution in a couple of years. But because of some changes at CalPERS, and they went from they're going to a 3-region model, so they're changing up the regions and how they're organized in California. And with that, CalPERS informed our staff that a resolution was necessary to change the reference regarding the employer's contribution from 80% of the Sacramento area region Kaiser family plan premium rate and change that language to 80% Kaiser Region 1 family basic party rate 3. So with that, before your board is a resolution that makes those suggestions from CalPERS. And it's recommended that the board adopt resolution number 2019, fixing the employer contribution at an equal amount for employees and annuitants under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act.
Is there any questions for Bob? No questions, we'll open and close public comments since we have no one signed up to speak. And we can either go to deliberation or a motion.
So moved.
Natoli, is there a second?
Second.
Good. Was that Portia? Yeah. Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those vote on screen, please.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay. Next item, please, Renee.
Your next item is your chair and vice chair election.
And I don't have a presentation for this item, but I leave it to the chair and the board to decide how they would like to elect a chair and a vice chair for fiscal year 1920.
Okay, would somebody like to nominate a vice chair for this year?
Are you staying in as chair?
If it's the will of the board.
Doing a fine job.
So do you want to go to the chair first then?
Yeah.
You want to make?
I'll move Chair Dietrich. Continue.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Do we need to have a formal vote on that on screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all those vote on screen, please.
Unanimous vote with those present.
You continue to serve as vice chair, Mr. Hedges?
What's that?
I asked Mr. Hedges if he'd be interested in continuing to serve as vice chair because I'm prepared to nominate him, so.
If the board wanted me to.
So nominated. I
The
nominate
motion
Mr.
from
Hedges.
Natoli and
Yes, it is.
I'll
second by now? Okay. Vote on screen for vice mayor for Mr. Hedges.
Vice mayor.
I just got it.
Excuse me.
I just got
Heard
it.
that. I heard it out loud.
Vice chair,
Good stuff.
wrong hat.
Unanimous vote with those members present.
Okay, perfect. It's a good thing I made the mistake before you voted me back on. All right. Next item, Renee.
Your next item is your general administration report.
So I have a few items. I'll take them as ordered on the staff report 1, 2, and 3. The first item is an update on the FCC order on the cable franchise feeds in-kind proceeding. And I think the board members, some of you board members are new and may not remember, but there's a proceeding going on at the FCC that that proposes that cable companies that pay franchise fees would be able to deduct the funding and other in-kind costs that they provide for PEG. So what that could mean is a significant reduction in franchise fees if they can turn around and say, because we give you 7 PEG channels, we value it at so much, and then we're going to do a deduct, and then so franchise fees can go down from what we saw today by a significant amount. So with that, the FCC has been conducting this proceeding. The Cable Commission has drafted letters to all our local senators and assembly people. And so I don't think anything has happened other than that. I did get a call from one of Harriet's attorney that works in Harriet's firm, that we participate in a coalition that is working on fighting this. And I was asked to try to, I was told that there was going to be a FCC oversight committee meeting that Doris Matsui was part of, and they did ask me to reach out to Matsui's office, and I did do that. Fortunately, Chair Detrick had already signed letters to all the Assembly people and senators. I resent those letters to the chiefs of staff in both DC and locally. In Matsui's office, so that has happened, and I believe that we could be leading towards, assuming that this doesn't change, that we could be leading towards maybe some meetings with at least Matsui's office and maybe some of the other Assembly members as well. And I should also point out that Keaton Riley, who is not here today, but is one of our board members, he's been very helpful as well. He has contacts in Ami Bera's staff, and he's been conversing with the contacts in Ami Bera's staff, and he's been trying to promote that Ami Bera's office basically take an oppositional stance to this in-kind proceeding. And that's basically what we've been trying to do with with these letters that we sent to the senators and Assembly people, is for them to take an opposition position. One thing that is a little disappointing is, as of yet, none of the local senators or Assembly people have taken a opposition stance that's been recorded, at least as of yet. So this is something that we'll continue to work on. Harriet, I don't know if you've hit...
Yeah, so the state of the in-kind proceeding at the FCC is that it's in the period between comments and reply comments and stuff like that. And the commission is participating in a consortium, as Bob just said, that includes cities and counties from all over the country who have banded together to file comments to talk about what the law says and why we believe that being able to do these kind of deductions is inconsistent with the Telecommunications Act. It would be really good at some point to be able to have local congresspeople and our senators take positions, hopefully positions that we're in favor of, and transmit those positions to the FCC. And so that's why we've been asking Bob, and we've also been asking people all over the country to reach out to their congresspeople and their senators. You know, it's an administrative procedure, but still when they get letters from Congress, they pay attention to it. So, and then sometime in the next couple of months, we may have some additional information from the FCC as to what they may or may not do with this proceeding.
Okay.
So with that, I can move on to the next item, which is basically the quarterly meetings for the remainder of calendar year 19. And with that, we would have on the Thursday at 2:30, always a Thursday at 2:30, unless we do a special meeting. The next meetings are September 5th in 2019, in which we'll bring back the final budget, and also December 5th, 2019. So with that, I'll move on to item number 3. I have delegated authority to enter into contracts and agreement, but I'm required to report that to the chair and report it to the board at the next board meeting. And so with that, I'm reporting that letters of agreement with OSPA and Skolco, who perform audits of the cable companies for us, I've entered into agreements with them for reviewing franchise and PEG fees paid by AT&T, Comcast, and Consolidated Communications for calendar years 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
And with that, that's the end of my administration report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions about?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I have a question on number 1. Let's see, I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Never mind, continue.
Okay, no other questions on this? This is a receive only, so we can move on to the next item. Renee?
Your next item is your channel licensee reports.
Okay. Best part, right? Isn't that what y'all came here for? I'm just going to go the order that I received these in. So Liz was the first one here, so she can be the first one up. Reverse order, right?
get your graduate up here if they get the graduation.
Yeah, plus we got a graduate we're trying to get out of here, right?
Thank you, thank you. Liz Rhodes and Trevor Mention from SECC. I always talk to you about all the wonderful things that we do with the SEVA program, but that's what Trevor is here to, because you need to hear from a student who has kind of come up through the ranks and has done a lot of work with us. Prior to that, though, let me just say that it has been a tremendously successful year for us. We are organizing all kinds of cooperative efforts among the school districts. We've recently expanded our family engagement and are working with a lot of the folks on promoting the summer meals program. And I'm really pleased with the response that we're getting and involving the student producers and the media, the SEVA labs, in promoting these things. And so we're really tying that together with the PIOs. We're very excited about that. So moving those things forward, hope to be coming back to you in 3 months with an agreement with Comcast. We're moving forward on the renewal of BestNet in 2023. Our schools need to have some action on that. And we're pleased with the response so far that we've gotten from Comcast. Wanted it for today, don't have it, but we're hopeful that it'll happen there. So with that, we finished a fantastic awards night, over 1,200 people, one of our biggest, our 30th annual. And to tell you more about that, Trevor Mention.
Welcome, Trevor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trevor Mention. I'm from Galt High School. And first, I want to thank the Cable Commission for their constant support of the SEVA program. Because of the SEVA program, I've been given the opportunity to participate in it, and I've really developed this dedication and passion towards filmmaking, which I hope to pursue at Sac State. So thank you again, Cable Commissioners. Now I want to present the video of the SEVA Award Night. It'll be up on the screen.
Thank you, Trevor.
And while we're waiting on that to come up, we bring gifts are for everybody, funded by Comcast, our 30th edition, special edition t-shirt. So I have them here, we'll just pass them around, but if we could take a look at that video, that would be great. Here we go.
Videos help people understand situations that are happening in far-off places in the world.
It's a good way to spread the word about something you believe in.
Making videos is an important tool in expressing yourself, but also getting your thoughts and ideas out there into the world.
Welcome to the 30th annual award night. That's right, 30 years.
This is the greatest collection of educational videos anywhere in the entire region, so it's great to see them all together and then be awarded tonight.
Well, I'm just excited to see all the students and the teachers and just see the enthusiasm and how creative and artistic all of our young people are, and then the help they get from the teachers.
My video is about these 3 kids, and they realize that being with their family and friends is better than being on social media and stuff.
One of the things I'm really excited about this year is trying to establish a greater connection with our community and kind of collaborate with them and come back and share that with the rest of our school. And that's really exciting to see that people from the outside are coming to us saying, hey, we'd like to be on your program.
I think the video production just by itself is no longer something that some people do. It's something that everybody needs to know how to do. It's part of the communication of the 21st century. So we need them to be able to communicate.
Everything. I never found something this freeing because video allows me to just express myself. Being able to not only do something I love, but help people in the process, it's like a double whammy. I love it.
Welcome. 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 Welcome to the SEVAs. Welcome to the SEVAs. Welcome to the SEVAs.
And that was the evening in a small capsule. We have our van downstairs. I think I reached out to most of you. If you have time afterwards and come down, we had a couple of students. I don't know if they had to leave. They had to leave? Oh, But anyway, we caught a couple of you before the meeting, so if you come down, take a look at that, man. $85,000, phenomenal. It's made such a huge difference to our staff and to the schools. The students are loving working with it. We had Trevor Harding here. He was going to talk to you a little bit about downstairs, what it means for him and his school and how they can use it. So it's just been phenomenal. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate all you do for us.
Thank you, Liz. Hey, Trevor, can you tell us what she said you won an award. What was your award?
I won honorable mention for a video that I produced for my school. It was a pathway video that demonstrates the abilities that students have gained through the courses of going through Go High School and the pathways that we have.
And was this your first year?
This is actually my second year. I participated my junior year. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was in Washington, D.C. on the Cap to Cap. I'm usually one of the co-presenters, but that's a phenomenal event, and congratulations. And Liz, thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
And good luck on your graduation.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chair, before Trevor leaves, Trevor?
Yes.
I went to Galt High School a long, long time ago, like 46 years ago when I graduated, but just wanted to offer congratulations and certainly to all of your colleagues, all the youngsters that participated in the SEVA awards, but certainly in the competition. And did I understand the graduation is actually the auditorium tonight?
Yep, it's an auditorium.
Very good. You don't have to walk across the football field like we used to. No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, graduate. Go Warriors.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Natoli.
Thanks, Trevor.
And Mr. Natoli, that was before calculators, right?
Yeah, actually, it was. Yeah.
Slide rule.
They had the abacus, though. Yeah.
Okay. So we got Trevor's already done. We got Gary Martin's the next one. David's on deck.
Hello, everyone. Gary Martin, Access Sacramento. I just did the quick math on Don Natoli, and if he was using an abacus, I don't even want to know how many stones I had to throw in order to do math. First and foremost, thank you to the Cable Commission, to the Cable Commission staff for supporting us with the budget requests this year. We work very hard to provide services to the community, and it is always a challenge to meet the needs because they are ever growing. Our COLA this year, I think, is bigger than anyone else's because we have the biggest portion, and that COLA amount is about $19,000. So it is not a huge amount to give to staff over the course of a year. We have 9 full-time employees, and we are just grateful that we have a world where, while the numbers are going down, we are being supported. PEG channels around the country are being challenged by the FCC, and if I can tag on to what Bob and Harriet have said about the FCC's FNPRM, it is a very frightening situation around the country. We have met as Access Sacramento with Matsui's staff here. We had a Capitol Hill Day about 4 months ago, and I was back at an Alliance for Community Media national board meeting, and I met with Vic D'Amato from Matsui's staff back in Washington. We are hopeful, of course, since she sits on the Subcommittee for Technology as part of the House Commerce Committee, that we may see some movement and that she would join this pathway as many other representatives have from around the country. Tagging on one more piece, I will say that for the first time, because the Democratic House has had a number of people who have signed on in opposition to the FCC's FNPRM, I can tell you that this week, the Commerce Committee for the Senate, for the first time ever, commented, the Republican-controlled Senate, in opposition to the FNPRM. So it is valuable to think that both democratically and Republican in Washington, D.C., we are seeing movement that potentially could help protect PEG channels from this decrease, and keep up the pressure. I'm glad the consortium and and the Cable Commission is a part of that consortium for fighting it. I don't know if the cities and the counties individually wanted to send those letters, but there are drafts that we could provide from the Alliance for Community Media if you are interested. Likewise, in talking about the budget piece, though, I will tell you that like SCCC, we this year also increased our fees. We have doubled them for our members. They were always very, very low. Now they are twice as what they had been. We have not happily seen much complaint, and over the course of our last year, we have seen an increase, a significant increase of almost 20% in our overall membership. The number of people who want opportunities to have their voice in the community continues to grow, and that is, we're grateful, of course, for that as well. A couple of ways that we continue to try and raise money, though, is through our film festival. You've heard about SIVA. We are in our 20th year this year for a place called Sacramento. 10 original films every year promoting filmmaking and art and storytelling in our community. This year, in our 20th year, we expand to a 3-day festival. We're going to do a couple little things in the days that lead up to it. And I was just getting a consultation from Liz Rhodes because she has a wonderful t-shirt, and I think we're going to do some merchandising. We might need a vendor, so Liz and her staff may be able to help us with that, because right now, obviously, it's very much all about making money and taking the advice from you that we need to better support better support ourselves, even in light of the things that you do and the increasing support that you give us. One of those other fundraisers that we do is our gala fundraiser. It is our 7th annual Power of Voice Awards presentation. This year it will be going to the executive director from Weave, Beth Hassett. Weave obviously speaks for people in the community whose voices may not otherwise be heard. That is our mission. And so in part, with her support, we will be going into our gala fundraising dinner on August 1st, and we will begin to push out the advertising and promotion of that event as a fundraiser. And then, of course, our place called Sacramento coming up all before the end of the calendar year. We hope to see all of you at our events. I'm open for questions, but again, thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
David, you're up. Shirley's on deck.
David Lowe, President and General Manager of KVIE. Thank you for approving the budget. And I just wanted to share with you about an event that we had last month that was big for Sacramento and will be even bigger. We had Antiques Roadshow come to Sacramento. And in the year 2000, they came, and it was at the convention center. I joined KVIE in 2001. So all I heard about was, well, when the Roadshow was here last year. So it was my goal to bring it back to Sacramento and shine a spotlight on our fabulous city for the rest of the nation. I kept reaching out and saying, come on back, and they said, actually, your convention center is not big enough. So I thought, well, what could be bigger than that? And then I pitched Cal Expo, because I figured that's actually bigger. I got them to be interested, and then they said, you know what, David, we're changing the format. We're going to go to these smaller historic venues. Do you happen to have one? And I said, how about the oldest art museum west of the Mississippi? And they said, we're going to come to the Crocker. So that happened last month. We had 3,500 people come through with appraisals, and that show is going to be put together. It's going to be 3 separate hours. That's going to air sometime between January and June. We'll know the exact dates this fall. I can share with you that one of the most exciting items that came through, someone brought the Ark of the Covenant. A prop piece from Raiders of the Lost Ark. We'll know a little bit more about it, and I don't think they opened up the lid. That would be very bad. But the appraisal value of that at auction is a minimum $80,000. So more next year, and we'll be able to shine a spotlight back on Sacramento.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Really cool. Thanks, David. Shirley Tully.
I'm not sure I can follow the Ark of the Covenant, but I will try. Greetings. On behalf of Cap Radio, I want to thank you for passing the budget and for your past support over 20 years, which is a very long time. You've allowed us to innovate and evolve, and we are now a multimedia platform media company that engages listeners on air, online, anytime, on any device. So this year has been exciting. Cap Radio celebrated its 40th birthday. We went on the air April 2nd, 1979, with Handel's Hallelujah chorus. We were broadcasting from above Sac State, and I'm told it was kind of a spare room, and they didn't have money for one of those on-air lights. And so students used to walk in while we were broadcasting live as they were looking for their classrooms. So I'm also told that during campus holidays, the power was cut, so we couldn't broadcast during the holidays. So we have come a long way because of your support. In terms of programming, there's a lot that's been going on this year. We've launched something called Great Question, which is our way of bringing the public into our newsroom. So we invite the public to ask questions that they want our reporters to investigate. And they're items of local interest, like what happened to the property of Japanese Americans who were interned during World War II? What causes the phantom traffic on I-80 near Dixon? And why do we call our airport SMF? Does anybody know? You haven't been listening. So, it's Sacramento Metropolitan Field. It was a very sort of old-fashioned name for the original airport. So I've wondered that many years. Now we know. We today, in fact, launched a podcast called 395, and it's allowing listeners to take a ride with Cap Radio along a lesser-known California highway that started as a cattle trail and whose legacy includes its role in World War II, water battles, internment, and lots of Hollywood intrigue. So that podcast launches today. There'll be several episodes, and you won't want to miss it. It's a good car trip podcast. In July, we'll be launching Tahoe Land, which is following on our really popular Yosemite Land, and our environment reporter, Ezra David Romero, will be sort of drilling down on how climate change is affecting Tahoe and how its 25 million annual visitors are interacting with the area and how climate change is affecting that. So those are just a few things we have going in addition to the news and arts and cultural offerings that we do. But I also wanted to mention our gratitude for the PEG funding, which has allowed us to upgrade our third studio from analog to digital. So it's a jump into the 21st century, and we're really pleased with that. In closing, I just want to say that we're completely grateful for your steady support over the years, and we're excited about the future. And one big thing that I didn't mention yet that you may have heard about is we are actually moving downtown. We announced that in April. We have been sort of quietly raising the money, and we got a lead gift from Sutter Health, and so they're going to be a tremendous partner in this effort. This downtown headquarters is going to be at 8th and J, so we'll be neighbors, and it will allow us to double our staff in the future. So it's really preparing the way for growth. It puts us right in the heart of downtown, where we can cover the Capitol and local government, and we're at the nexus of the arts. So we are thrilled. We hope to see you. It'll be about a year from now that we hope to be moving in, and it'll be a short walk. So thank you very much, and again, appreciate your support.
Thank you. Thank you, Shirley. Next item, Renee.
Your next item is your state franchisee reports.
I don't see anybody signed up, and I don't see anybody in the audience. I don't think we have any of the state franchisees here. So let's go to the next item.
Your last item is your public comments.
You know, there's nobody signed up to speak. I don't think there's anybody else in the audience that wants to speak under public comment, is there? So I won't read the statement. We'll open and close public comment, and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.